Girl. You had to know. You had to know before those words ever parted your lips that it was going to be on and popping. Flat out. There was no way of even getting around it. It was going to be on and popping. You know, like we know who you dealing with. Okay. All right. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Married to Medicine. This is season 7, episode 8. Miss Quad, Miss Quad, Miss Quad. Girl, child, listen. She knows. She knows. Those are her friends. She knows. And I know she knew before she opened her mouth that there was going to be some controversy about what was getting ready to release from her throat. So it just is what it is. And it is going to be dealt with accordingly. And we're going to be here like this. Because the shit is going to be on. Anyway, we're going to talk about it. So this episode, child, this was pretty much the quad episode for the most part. This is the quad episode, okay? So we start off with Miss Quad. She is at her book signing event, and it was a fantastic turnout. Fantastic turnout. As they were coming in, Heavenly had actually made reference to the fact that it was about an hour, that it looked like it was going to be like an hour wait for her to sign the book. So, hey, that is excellent. First time out. First time, even with all that she does and all of her popularity, first time out on a cookbook, yeah, this is a big deal. And this is good. This is really good. Now, I said, there go Heavenly with her shady mess. Heavenly in her confessional, she says, she's had some failures. And I was like, there's no shade. It's Quad and Heavenly are friends. If there's any, I don't have any question about their friendship over any of the ladies. There's no question about it. They are friends. She's definitely in her corner. Heavenly just knows how to make TV. She knows how to make good TV, and she gonna say certain things because it's just the way Heavenly speaks. So I don't think that there was any shade intended. Really, not total. It was Heavenly shade. Her version of fun shade, what she said about failures, and then she mentioned her marriage and Picture Perfect Pup and her friendship with Mariah. Now, the one thing I actually had to check, I pulled up my phone and looked it up, and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize Picture Perfect Pup, that the website was down. I didn't even realize it. Though I wouldn't call Picture Perfect Pup a failure. I wouldn't. I feel like she had a good run with what it was. Would it be great if it was actually still running and she was still pulling revenue from there? Absolutely. But I wouldn't call it a failure because at a point that business was up and running and making money. It was making money. And nobody ever thought that it would even run as long as it did. So I definitely wouldn't consider it a failure. I wouldn't. Sorry, but I just wouldn't. But again, coming from, if somebody else was saying it, it would have been taken differently. Coming from Heavenly, that's just Heavenly making good television. You know what I mean? Heavenly being Heavenly, throwing her fun shade. Next off, we see Jackie and Curtis sitting in with their contracting company. And there was some numbers thrown out, okay? Curtis wasn't here for it. Curtis was like, Jackie, really? And it's a little exorbitant, but when she put it into perspective, and she put it in perspective for us and Curtis's ass, okay? She said, listen here. And we had some flashbacks. Jackie wanted a baby. Curtis said, no, we're not doing that. Curtis already has kids and all that, and he's a man of a certain type of an age. He ain't trying to go back and do all that over again. And he put his foot down. No, we're not doing nothing with no eggs. We're not doing no adoption. We're not doing that. He put his foot down. And so adoption of a baby, you know, going through IVF or surrogates or none, a baby was a no for their household. And Jackie basically summed it up very quickly and very eloquently that a baby was a no, but this right here, this is going to be a yes. Period. And Curtis left that shit alone. He left it alone. What? No more conversation about it. Smart man. Smart man. Left it alone. That was that. I said, come on, Jackie. Get what you want. And I have to say this, they flashed a couple times during this episode inside of Toya and Eugene's house. That house is beautiful. That goddamn house is beautiful. And it just is what it is. Because I'm going to tear Toya's ass up later. But that house, y'all did that. Y'all did that. From what we ain't even saying everything. Just what I saw. All this plexiglass and all this white everything and white carpets in that damn closet. Y'all did that. People say what they want to say. Absolutely beautiful. I was looking at the walls and y'all did that. Beautiful. But I'm going to get you later. I'm going to get you. Oh, I'm going to get you. Anyway, so then we see Contessa. And y'all know I love Contessa, but Contessa, I'm going to get your ass now. Contessa and Scott and the kids had gone to a lunch. And then as they were all sitting there and everything was cool, and she was talking to Scott, and she was saying, that she had called about going back to her old job and it wasn't available. So I was like, okay, so where are we going? And Contessa was starting. She was starting up. And I was like, what you doing? Like, it got to a point where it was starting to go like everybody was all happy. And then it started going. I was like, Contessa, I know you're not getting ready to get started. And she was. She's going to get started. But then, Saved by the Bell, Grandpa came in. So I was like all excited. I was happy to see him. He looks like he's doing really good, and he's definitely coming around more often. He's taking that trip and seeing these grandbabies and all of that. So I was really happy to see him. And like I said, Saved by the Bell, Scott was happy to see him too, because he wasn't trying to go into that with Contessa. And he made comedy. I don't really want to talk about that in front of the kids. Anyway, so once we got over the fact Grandpa was there and all that, Contessa, I wanted to take her by her hand and lead her outside the restaurant to the side of the restaurant and smack her wrists. Because how dare you? How dare you, Contessa? You were so completely out of order. She literally started asking questions to her dad and bringing her dad up to speed on how how they had decided to leave her program and come on back home and all of that. No, you decided to completely leave the program and come on home because of what was going on at the house. But she completely threw Scott under the bus in front of her dad and was asking her dad, questions about how he felt and does that make me a quitter? And all of this. She was laying it on so thick, and basically setting it up that Scott was the bad guy. And it was so out of order. Contessa, you wrong. You are completely wrong. And I wanted to smack her goddamn wrist so bad. I was like, oh, that is so wrong. So wrong. And then when he went to say, that's what he said out loud. He's like, Contessa, I don't want to talk about this in front of the kids. And then she basically said something and cut him off. I'm asking Daddy. and cut him off. I was like, oh, no, 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 no. And he just kind of sat there like, had this look on his face. I felt so bad for Scott. I felt so bad for Scott. And I did. I got a little angry with Contessa. I was like, wow, Contessa, I can't believe you did that. I cannot believe you did that. That was so wrong. That was so wrong. And that little stunt, it could be literally that stunt right there that will put your whole marriage in counseling. That wasn't cool. That wasn't cool at all. And I'm sure we ain't heard the last of that. Anyway, moving on. And Grandpa wasn't even on board with her bullshit. He wasn't on board. He ain't like that. What she was talking about, he wasn't feeling none of that. Anyway, moving on. And he told her, no, it doesn't make you a quitter. You're talking about. Anyway, moving on. So then we go over to Cecil and Simone's house. Cecil, what are you giving? What are you giving? And they were actually talking about, she was talking about his party. I was like, shut up, Simone. Yeah, because he went on a couple golfing trips and that, and she was fussing about that. Girl, hush, hush. But then we start talking about Miles, okay? Miles is Cecil. You understand? The more we're starting to see Miles is what, 20 now? And we're starting to see Miles more. And he's being taken out of the light of, Simone's two little young sons. And it's more Miles is becoming an adult. But Miles is becoming a half-ass what he's been geared to be. Okay, so the spoiling of Miles is starting to show up, and he's not maturing like he should, and he's doing a half-ass job of what it is he's supposed to be doing. And he's talking about transferring to Berkeley. No, like you were already away at a different college and screwed it up and had to come on back home. And now we trying to get your grades up to something, and you talk about you going to go to Berkeley? No, boo. No. And he's just not being realistic is what it is. And Cecil is sitting over there with this kind of, this goofy smile, and he's easy. Cecil's just easy. And Simone, you can tell Simone is more of the disciplinarian. And she was putting her foot down. I mean, like literally, Simone has her foot on Miles's neck. And this is like a turning point. Like she's been being easy on him, and the shit done got old, and it ain't working. It ain't working. So she done applied her foot to Miles's neck. And Simone don't have no problem with applying pressure to that foot that's resting up on his neck. And his dad is sitting back there with that old dumbass smile. And I looked at Miles, and Miles got this same dumbass smile on his face and trying to brush her off. And today wasn't the day. Now, we've seen them brush her off in the past. It wasn't the day. Simone's tired of Miles' bullshit, and she's ready to apply the pressure to his neck. And I sat and I watched as that dumbass Cecil smile wiped right off of Miles's face right as we were watching. And I was like, your mother means business. She ain't playing with you no more. She not playing with you no more. And the bad thing, we love you, Miles, but I don't feel bad for you. Simone is doing, she not being mean. She doing what she need to do because reality ain't nowhere in there. All I see is that old dumbass empty smile that is mirroring that dumb one that your father be walking around with. Daddy's soft. And your mother is just telling the truth. She ain't even being a bitch. She's just telling the truth. You got the, Like this boy's 20. And she's having to go the route of telling him about what time to go to bed. Yeah, she needs to apply pressure to your neck because that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. This was spoiled goes a little too far. and Simone's taking the control back. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Cecil, wipe that old dumbass smile off your face and sit over there with your boy. So you can match, so y'all go ahead and match, because y'all was matching with them dumbass smiles. And Simone was giving, Charles, y'all want me to do some jujitsu up in there, honey? I said, Miles caught it. Did you? You might wanna. Anyway, moving on. So Contessa and her dad go to see Heavenly. This was cool. This was really cool. And his mouth was a mess. An absolute mess. Just atrocious. And that has to do with, like she even said it has to do with some of that substance abuse. It tears your teeth out. It will tear your teeth down. But Heavenly hooked Paw up. You understand me? Hooked him up. Then they had his old grill, baby. You got this grill. He said 8 grams of gold and 5 carats of diamonds. I wouldn't give a shit. It's ugly. It's ugly, and it need to be melted down into a ring or do repurpose it as a ring or a necklace or something, because that shit, yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. But anyway, Heavenly hooked him up, and literally with the new teeth, Contessa do look just like that man. They look just alike. And he looked great. He really did. It literally removed some years from him. Y'all seen the thumbnail for this video. He looked great. Now, Heavenly, girl, I ain't got no reason, Miss Thing. A dentist? Yes, you are. Girl, you did a fantastic job. And it was really a good scene. It was a good scene. And you could tell he felt good. He really felt good. Heavenly felt good about him feeling good, and it was actually my favorite scene of this whole episode, because this episode went real left. It was going left. Contessa had already rubbed me the wrong way. Then Miles was over there looking simple, and I was like, what are y'all doing today? What is going on? Then it ended up going real left, down to the all-white party with Miss Quad, honey. It went all the way left. Anyway, but the whole dental experience was my favorite part of this episode. Anyway, so then we go over to the party. Quad's having this all-white party, and Miss Courtney. Oh, Miss Courtney. Courtney is Quad's party planner. Okay? That Courtney had this white halter dress with the back completely out. Yet it had a peekaboo shoulder and interesting blouse sleeve, and it even had like a blouson effect right at the waist. Listen, this dress, the design of this dress, there were so many subtle intricacies about this dress that Courtney had. That Courtney's ass was clean, clean, clean. That was a badass dress. You hear me? Badass white dress. I was like, yes, ma'am. So I just was living for that. We saw her when Quad was coming in, okay, into things and telling him, I want a little more seasoning on this, that, the other. The whole party was really centered around, it was wrapped around her cookbook release and all of that. And I was laughing earlier at a confessional where Contessa was like, this heifer is trying to get her a damn tax write-off. Yes, God. Yes, God. One thing that she is, honey, she's a lot of Miss Quad. Miss Quad is a lot of things, honey. People look at her and they say a whole lot of things, but she ain't no damn fool. She's smart, especially when it comes to her business and her coin. So, you damn right. So, beautiful party, totally over the top, totally Quad. It said Quad. And it was cool. And it was all white. That's always a good time, child. So, see that sea full of melanated folk, honey, and all that white. Yeah, it was all right. Anyway, but and getting ready for the party, over to Toya and Eugene's beautiful place. Toya, you're a whole bitch, right? A whole bitch. You sat your ass up on here and you basically you've let us know that you've picked a side. Flat out. Ain't no ifs, ain't no ands, ain't no buts. You've picked a side, and then you sat here and you're saying, at first I wasn't going to go in support of Mariah. Guess what? You shouldn't have gone. Feeling how you felt, you shouldn't have gone. If you feel like that and you feel like you've chosen a spot and to something that really ain't got nothing to do with you because it has to do with them too, you should not have carried your ass over to her birthday party. Because when you did, you went to the birthday party and you was on some fuck shit. You were shading from the time you walked in the door. Shading. You walked in the door, you was making little smart references to the fact that they didn't have any Patron and just shading. And the first time you got a chance, you threw in, because they're like, well, where's Contessa? Contessa and Scott hadn't got there yet. And you took that opportunity to throw, well, where's Mariah? Being smart. You was on some bullshit. And when you came there, you were received respectfully. She was very nice to you and Eugene, just like she was with everybody else. She was being a hell of a hostess at her party in the beginning. And you were throwing shade. Slick, subtle shade. And Heatherly called you out on it. Told you a shady bitch. You know good and well Mariah ain't invited. And you know why Mariah ain't invited. So I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to swing on back before I go over and tell you about when Miss Quad's hosting turned left. Because her hosting, her hostess role turned left. When she changed her clothes, shit went left, okay? She took off her white outfit and put on this silver jumpsuit, and shit went left. Anyway, let's go over to Mariah, because we ain't seen her in this whole time. She is hosting, at the same time, a Ramadan celebration at and a friend of hers' restaurant, who is of the Muslim faith as well. So they do all the prayers and all of that, and we get the whole Ramadan situation and explain to us about the fasting and all that was wonderful. And then she says, oh, I have some other guests coming, and they sent the kids out of the room. I said, oh shit, here we go. So they sent the kids out, and they sat down, and I guess they sent Allah out of the room too at the same time, honey, because then the shit got real shady. And it became, at that point, a bash Quad party. And she did. They bashed Quad. Lake literally sat there and called her a hoe. Well, she's always been a hoe. So all of this fussing back and forth and these comments and things on these reviews about, oh, Quad's wrong for this and Quad's wrong for that, and Mariah that, oh yeah, and all about that drug allegation and all of that. Okay, so now they're even. So let's see if there's this same outrage now about this, her allegedly being a whore and sleeping with Lake's ex-husband. Oh, she's always been a hoe, and this, that, and the other. So I'm going to be watching. I'm going to see if you all have that same outrage, honey. That same fake outrage for the fact that Mariah is now bringing it. See, and this is what Mariah does. She throws the rocks out and she has her hand. She let Lake, the lake with the dirty water, she let her go ahead and call Quad a whore for all of you all's listening pleasure. And then, wouldn't you know it, Shoot Lucy is back on the scene, baby. Shoot Lucy jumped in and co-signed that Quad was a whore and added her own spice to the stew, honey. And she decided to bash the rest of the cast. I said, oh, shoot, Lucy, honey. And Toya, your dumbass is over there shading the people for them, and shoot, Lucy done threw you in with the bunch. You ain't shit either. Because that's what Shoot Lucy had to say. That says a lot about all of them that they would go over there and support her and go to her party. Huh. That said a lot about them. And guess where Eugene and Toya, guess where y'all were? Over at the party. Which meant in Shoot Lucy's eyes, y'all ain't shit either. So you got Grimace and the damn Hamburglar over there throwing shade at people, and it ain't even being recognized over there. You got thrown into trash with the rest of the people by old Shoot Lucy, honey, and old Lake calling Quad a whore. I can't wait to see the comments. I can't wait. Can't wait to see it. Again, Quad and Mariah do what they do. Neither one is nicer to the one than the other is to the other. They get at each other. They got a feud. They have a little thing. They ain't nice to each other. So let's see if the fake outrage pops up, or will y'all make excuses for how Mariah acted. You threw a whole party and invited people to sit around and bash Quad, and then covered it up as a Ramadan celebration. Like I said, Allah must have left the room with the kids. Anyway, moving on. Let's go back over to Quad's party, honey, over to the white party. So they sitting at the table, honey, you know, they're all around, and they had this whole conversation about tasting your twat. Tasting your own twat before you let your man taste your twat. I was like, okay, I ain't got nothing to say about that. I was like, all right, well, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a twat. Never tasted any twat. Not interested. Not up for the challenge. How did I guess? I don't know. Y'all leave it in the comments. Is that a normal thing? And you girls running around there giving yourself a having to make sure everything's okay before you let him go in? I'm interested to know. Leave it in the comments. These comments are going to be something, honey, ain't they? I'm going to be reading them. Leave it in the comments, honey. Do you self-taste before you allow your man friend to indulge? I'd love to know. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so Quad changed her clothes. She got this cute silver jumpsuit on, and she comes back, and now she's doing this speech. And Quad stood up there, and she pulls all the girls from Sister Circle, and she starts in this speech. And then the speech goes left, where she says, you know, I was at a point in my life where I was ready to give up on women altogether, friendship with women altogether. And then I went to the Sister Circle, and they taught me what, you know, y'all showed me what it was like to have women friends. And baby, every member of that Married to Medicine cast was on the other side of the room like, ooh, ouch. Okay? And every last one of them felt shaded. And the reason you all felt shade is because that's how she meant it. That's how she meant it. She stood in her truth. Now, I mean, it is what it is. Was it petty? Yes. Yes. There was a hint of petty on top of it. But it was her truth. It was her truth. At that point in time, when she went to Sister Circle, you can say, well, I watched both. I'm watching Married to Medicine. I'm watching Sister Circle. I done been with both programs the whole time that has been going on, okay? And yes, she has different type of friendships over on Sister Circle than she does on Married to Medicine. On Sister Circle, they're not fighting and clawing and pulling at each other's hair, and they don't fall out she'll fall out with Trina one day and then fall out with Selena the next day and then fight with Rashad on Wednesday. And They don't have that going on. So it was what she was speaking, her truth. Now, did she have to do it at the party? No, Quad, you did not. But it was speech time, as she felt like speaking. And then it wrapped around, and she gave her feelings for her Married to Medicine cast. But Quad ain't crazy. Quad knows what Quad does. Quad knows her friends. She knew when she spoke that somebody from Sister Circle was going to feel a certain type of way. And I'm sure she's okay with, and if she ain't, she will be. If she ain't okay with it, she will be. Because you know this ain't the last that you're going to hear of it. You know who you're dealing with. You know who you're dealing with. And she knew right away, because when she turned around and she got to the sisters, to the Married to Medicine cast, Simone, Toya, and Eugene was gone. They was gone. They left. Contessa, Jackie, Heavenly, and Damon and Curtis were still, and Scott were still standing there, but Contessa made no time in throwing them under the bus. She let her. She said, "Well, where's Simone? And where's?" And Contessa said, "Girl, some other folks gave up on you, girl, but we was here for you because we knew you was coming to us." Like, damn, Contessa. I said, "You just a trouble. You've been trouble since the beginning of the episode." She threw them. She gave them this, honey, right under the bus. I said, and they was gone. And of course, you got confessionals, and they, Toya felt some kind of way already, because Toya's on some fuck shit. Toya done chose sides. Toya was waiting on something to be able to secure being on the other side. Little do she know, Shoot Lucy, honey, ain't seeing it for you no way. But anyway, I know you don't want to shoot. Listen, I know you don't want to Shoot Lucy to bust you in the head with her purse no more. But she ain't feeling it for you all like that. But she had to secure her side, girl, so she can go back and tell Queen Mariah, honey, yeah, girl, we got it, but we left, bitch. The Hamburglar's back, honey. Anyway, Simone, y'all just made up. I don't know what that's going to do for y'all. Hopefully, it'll just breeze over. Hopefully, you'll just come back with a girl. They was my ride, child. But you could have rode with Jackie. But anyway, I don't know what that's going to do for you, sis. So that was that. And then after that, Quad threw a little more shade. Said, "Oh, so what? So they were feeling some kind of way? They wanted to be mentioned first? You know they did, and you knew what you did. You knew you knew there was gonna be some shit, child. Stop it." Anyway, listen, stand in your truth. She wears expensive heels, honey. She'll stand in it. I'm sure she'll stand in it. Quad ain't crazy. Anyway, so that is what it is. And they gonna get what they want. They gonna throw some shade at her. She gonna throw something back. It's gonna be interesting, and we're gonna be watching. Okay, so then a friend of hers comes out and says, "You know what? All you and your friends, come on out. We need to see this." And they revealed that she had actually bought herself this red Lexus LC 500. So I was like, oh, okay, and that kind of like that wrapped it up. I was like, and this was for the television audience. This is good. I'm waiting to hear all, like, I ain't got nothing to say about the little situation with her showing her car, but I could just imagine what these folks in these reviews is going to say, because they just, again, sometimes there'll be a fake outrage. They be looking for some reason to tap my girl, and I'm sure they're gonna tap her about this. But it is what it is. She worked. She worked and she bought it. Why she decided to show it like that, I don't know. I don't know. Would I have done it? I probably wouldn't have done that. But again, there's always a reason for the season. There's a reason for the season. And, hell, it might just being proud of your accomplishment. That could be enough. It's, listen, very expensive car, limited type of a car. Hey, she worked for it and she did it herself because there were a lot of naysayers. I'm just trying to grasp why she bothered to show it. It wasn't because it wasn't a gift. It was a gift to herself. And why she chose to share it on the platform like that, I'm sure it probably was wrapped around the fact that, there were so many naysayers of, once she's divorced, she's not gonna have anything, and everybody was talking this mess about her going after Gregory. Well, we all know. Well, I've been sitting over here saying the whole time, "Are you all crazy?" Like, she makes her own money, so possibly that's it. I don't know. I haven't seen any interviews from Quad out there where she has actually spoken about that. But I'm sure it probably is wrapped in something like that. That's just my estimation. Would I have done it? No, I wouldn't have done it because I know how these people in these vlogs and blogs work. And they sit back, and the haters, are looking for a reason to attack her. And I just felt like I said, oh God. As soon as I seen it, I was like, oh God, they're going to attack. They're going to attack. But I'm sure it was it's just a proud moment for her. It's a proud moment, and it was very na 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 na. See, I got my own money, you bastards. Okay, and she does. She has her own damn money. Anyway, y'all see, she's making some more. So anyhow, I didn't talk long enough. 35 minutes, 36 minutes. I'm out of here. Yeah, the party. It got kicked off, Quad. You went left, girl. It got kicked off. They gonna come for you, ma. And she here for it. She not a windmill. So, but they gonna come for her. That Mariah child, Shoot Lucy and the crew. They already getting geared up. So, I guess it's getting ready to get interesting around these parts, isn't it?